We have some really good speakers here, and I'm just going to go right into it. My name is Ido Cohen from ActBold Media Group, and Julie, why don't we start with you from Yahoo? Please tell us about yourself, and we'll sort of work down the way.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julie Coeza. I am on the B2B marketing team at Yahoo. So my experience today, I'll speak from marketing to businesses. And I've been there about 6 years at Yahoo.
My name is Solange Deschat. I work in actually the app marketing sector at Symantec in mobile. So I have a very eclectic background in marketing. For that, I was a consultant for a lot of different businesses and helping them create email campaigns, mostly consumer-focused, nonprofit.
And I'm Josh Oakes, and I'm with MediaLeaders. And I think I've made a lot of mistakes in email that have helped me to make less mistakes. So I'm excited to be here to share with you some tactical tips I've learned.
Great. So the first question, and if you can maybe preface that question by just telling us who it is, what type of customers you're actually emailing, because I think that's important. We all have different types of customers. So maybe start with that, and then let us know what is working for you with email marketing.
Okay, so for me, the audience is advertisers, so brands, and also agencies. And for us on the B2B marketing side, really our main channels are communications, which email is a key part of. In fact, we have research that says our advertisers, the number one way they want to hear about new product updates, what's going on, is marketing communications, and then followed by sales team. So it's a big channel along with events, just sales support, and then media. So I think on the email side, what's working for us, probably 3 things we're mostly doing is around upsell, cross-sell, nurturing. So definitely a multi-touch email. So basically what Josh was describing, how last week he emailed, this week. So we might start off first with an email that's a white paper, so more educational value. And then from those that clicked on it, we'll send another email that's maybe a video. Again, a little more educational but interactive. And the last, we might then do a direct email. So that's a direct mail, and that's of everyone that listened to the video, saw it. So really a higher touch point, and then we have sales follow up. So that's
what does a direct mail look like?
That will be more of like the product sell, the product message. So we've kind of seeded it with some educational content, and then we go like more for the product pitch or sell.
Is it an actual stamp in the mail?
It will be more of like a package of content. There might be a USB we've done with video, or an infographic, something that they can maybe use as well.
And just on that same, so with the way when you measure these emails, what metric for you is important to gauge? I know somebody asked open rate, but how do you know if something is working? What's the metric that's important?
I think for us, at the end of the day, we're trying to drive revenue.
Right.
So that's the ultimate metric. And it's hard because, all of our data and everything's not perfect. So a lot of times we'll do just manual matchbacks of everyone on the original list. And then, what's their incremental spend after the campaign. But definitely looking at open rates, click-through rates as, is the campaign effective?
Okay. Solange.
Well, I would say when emailing your average consumer, really what's working is taking into account design. About 64% of people, decision makers, are actually looking and reading their emails from a mobile device nowadays.
64%?
Yeah.
You guys got that?
Nowadays. And tablets are huge. Tablets are growing. And, pretty much, everyone's going to have a tablet one of these days coming up soon. So I think that, designing, making sure that you have a responsive design for your email is really, really important, and making sure that you have mobile optimized landing pages as well, linking off of those emails. Very vital, because people are going to want to be able to get their information quickly. They're going to want to be able to read that content very easily on a mobile device.
So when somebody gets an email onto their mobile phone and they click on it, it should send them to a mobile-friendly page.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. And what's your metric? What do you use as your for success?
I would say that it would definitely depend on business, since I have worked as a consultant and worked with a lot of different businesses. Mostly I would say definitely click-through rate is in conversions really, really important.
Cool. Josh?
So the question is, what's working?
And also who your audience is.
Who my audience is. So I'm going to pick on myself a bit because I think I've switched a lot. And all of you in the room are my customer. You are B2B. You're an agency or you're a huge brand, and you want best practices. MediaLeaders serves businesses and professionals to help them better navigate digital tools and marketing, but it's all around the customer. So in a chapter of my book, Light, Bright, and Polite, a few years ago, because when I ran for politics, I used all the digital tools I could and tested it in my own campaign. I really used a lot of email. And I used to believe very strongly that the right column should be all about your company, and the left column, 70%, 65% should be, okay, here's your message. And that was back when desktop was huge. And over the last 4 years since the political run, that's really changed. And now we're spicing it up. So many of you that RSVP'd for this event, we spice it up. We give you one with a right column with the big, nice, beautiful Digital Growth Summit logo, and we test that. I'm looking at open rates, but what I really care about is click-through rates. Because at the end of the day, I want money, and you're not going to spend money through my email. You're going to put your credit card, your American Express card, into our website. And that's really all I care about. But click-through rates get you closer to that. Open rates is neat. That means you liked my subject line, you kind of know who I am, and you looked at it. But we're switching it up a little bit. We're no longer doing the column on the right as much. What we're finding is working, and many of you that opened the email and clicked something cool, you saw if we were missing any of your data, and we're still getting CRM systems tied in. Infusionsoft is awesome, but we're using a little tool. Sometimes it doesn't transfer. You might have seen something that said, hey, we don't have all of your data, and we want your name badge fully complete. Please click here to update it. And that didn't have a column on it. The click-through rate and the click-through rate on that is much higher when it's just a very short email. Here's what I'm finding that's working. One, it's very short email, and that's what light means. Light, bright, and polite. Light means it's 100 characters or less. And then it's all above the fold whenever it's mobile. It's very close. And above that fold, there is a call to action. And it isn't really long. It's just, you can scroll down, you can say, thanks, Josh, boom. And it's just one link right in the middle. And it says, hey, we don't have all your data. Click here, give the rest of it to us. That's what we're finding that's working. I used to do a lot of columns, and you'll still see some columns, but it's overwhelming. Even if our content is amazing, it's too much. So we've really tried to scale that down.
Do you guys find, and maybe we can just images and emails, can we talk a little bit about whether or not those are effective and how to deal with mail clients that don't automatically download images? And just because I know this is off topic, but I know we're talking about what works, and is short text better than something that's visually stunning? Solange, why don't we start with you?
Well, I definitely think it depends on your audience, and if you're going for the average consumer, I would definitely say that having a nice, big graphic treated text is probably with a link is probably something that works the most. So if you just have and it's easy to kind of scale that to mobile as well as desktop. So I think that's probably the thing that would work the most, instead of just doing plain boring text or some kind of picture graphic.
Okay, Julie?
Yeah, I agree with Josh and Salon. What we're seeing is working is typically like the big hero image at the top, and then we use like the call to action button there, and then very short like copy below. So that's generally our practice.
Cool.
So I don't believe in images and emails. We've tried it. We tested it. I have I have a red eye tonight, and I'm speaking to hundreds of people tomorrow to teach them email marketing, this very same thing, and show them out of the thousands of emails that we send to you people, because I'm tracking all of your behaviors. We find that if you have a huge image above the fold and it doesn't auto-deploy, and Gmail is the #1 email user these days, sorry, love you, but Gmail's she's with Yahoo. Gmail is the #1 user for emails. And Google Apps is used by millions of businesses, and we use Google Apps. We run everything on that. It doesn't auto-download imagery. And I've actually turned my iPhone off, so I can turned images off on my iPhone. So the marketer doesn't know now, and us as marketers, we all are in this room, The marketers don't know that I've opened the email because sometimes spammers, they want to know if you open that email, you deploy your image, they go, ooh, it's an active person, I'll keep spamming them. So I don't like that. Second, I want to see what Gmail users are getting. So if I open something and you have a ton of imagery in it and I can't see anything above the fold, I'll delete or I'll unsubscribe because it has nothing to do with me and I don't have time to add it and download it and stuff. So that's a really good question, Nito. But I'm finding that we stray from imagery. And whenever I put that right column in a lot of the emails that we've communicated with you guys, we make sure that the email works perfectly without the imagery. That's why it's only a small image on the right-hand side.
Was it one of you guys that when you guys sent the email about the answers that spoke about the meta descriptions for the images? Or was that, okay, so that was maybe from Rachel. But I think Rachel had mentioned that she had included images in an email once, and because the images don't download, you see the text of the image in the email. And a designer had put some really nasty curse words in that image before. So it's just something I know that was a blunder that was important. So on that note, maybe you guys could tell me what's not working in email marketing, a common mistake that you've seen in the space. And Julie, why don't we start with you this time?
I mean, I think for us, our biggest challenge is a lot of the automation process. So really the CRM system. So since we're talking to an advertiser agency audience, our sales force is using a CRM system. So it's really better linking up our marketing database and the sales system and keeping it updated because we want to use those databases to target and segment, and there'll be a missing title, and so we don't get it to the right people. So I think that's been, for us, as far as what's probably not working the best, and it really affects our strategies because especially if we want to do more triggered-based emails and segment certain industry verticals and give them content from our website or blog that's relevant to them, we need to have all the right contacts and lists. So that's definitely an ongoing challenge.
Is it more dangerous to not contact somebody enough or to contact them too much? Would you say on that note, with all the triggers and?
Yeah, my point of view is probably too much.
That's more dangerous?
Yeah, I think so. That's just my point of view, just to get too much fatigue, but definitely because they are, especially at Yahoo, getting emails from not just us, but all kinds of different groups. So we have to be careful with that.
Okay, Solange.
Okay. Well, I think. Well, first of all, there's a statistic out there that about 40% of email marketers admit to not having a strategy. So I would say that not having a strategy is definitely something that won't work if you're going to be sending emails out to your consumers. And one interesting example of that was I got an email from my hairdresser in September about eggs. And I was a little confused. The subject line was about eggs. And I thought, it's September, okay, it's not Easter. But they were emailing me to tell me that they had deviled eggs that they were serving at their hair salon. And no real, no deal, no specials, no talking about the hair, nothing, just an email about deviled eggs. And I thought, it was just such a missed opportunity. They could have tied that into something else and made a campaign out of it, but it was really just a very, very failed attempt. So having a strategy is very, very important. And emailing, making sure you have a reason to email people. So whether it's a special deal or whether it's news, whether it's important content that you feel is shareable, but make sure you have a strategy.
So if you were the hairdresser, can you give me maybe like a email strategy, like the 3 different types of emails that you would send? Like what would be it doesn't even have to be the hairdresser, but what does a good strategy look like?
Well, I mean, so a good strategy would have some kind of call to action, obviously. So you would have to, like Josh was saying, what is your end goal? So if your end goal is to get someone to book a haircut with you, show them, link them to maybe some tips on how to, do your hair for, back to school or something, easy back to school hair, and say, we can show you this, and kind of link them to your website, and maybe have an online booking system. Things like that, or give them a discount for fall, and I think that having that up front and in the subject line as well is really important to really hook people and get them to click through.
Cool. Josh?
What's not working?
Let me ask you first, actually. When you send an email out to people, do you use first names or last names, or if it's a group?
Such a good question.
That's always a question that I
Can
struggle
I
with.
give you guys a couple tactical tips? I'm not going to get fired here because it's so fine. All right, one, if you're going to have an email sign-up form on your website, I believe, and I'm really old school, there's only two things you own in this online world. One, you own your URL of your website. You don't own your Facebook page. You do not own your Twitter URL. You signed a terms of service agreement that you will get kicked off if in a moment's notice they'll change the algorithm. You will not be in as many people's feeds. Sorry, Facebook, but it's terrible. Next, you also own the right to email those that have opted into your email address. Let me repeat that. You own the right to email those that have opted in voluntarily on your email list. So on your website, every one of you has some kind of FAQ, cool added value that you're telling people over the sales. Hey, let's teach you how Convertro, our little plug, or the Smart Cube probably has in the back. Paul has tons of cool stuff that his data analytics team can pull out, and they have extraneous cool facts that you guys could all use. They're doing it over the phone. Well, we should all have a little web form that says, do you want the white paper that takes 3 minutes to read, that gives you stuff that none of our biggest clients ever have time to read, but it will let you get to where they need to go in 3 minutes or less? People will fill out that. Now, don't just ask for their email and then submit. Get their first name, their email address. The submit button is never submit. It's always send me the report, something customized, because it's a real person. People don't submit. They say send me the report. Also at the top, you give them a real opt-in. Hey, I want to, send me the report. I can learn in 30 minutes. It's all about them. So you have a reason. You have a first name that you ask for every time. You don't need their last name, their mom's maiden name, their shoe size, and all the other stuff. You just need first name, email, and then a button. And below that, a testimonial. Hey, and sometimes I use Jeff Brown, who's our moderator. Yeah, I loved your book. It was amazing, and I love the free chapter I got when I clicked the give me the free chapter button, because Jeff, I can use him for free. I pretty much own his likeness. He's awesome. But you see the point. You want to grab those people immediately so that then, to answer Ito's question, you can greet them. And all of you got an email from MediaLeaders saying, Dear Paul, I'm looking forward to seeing you this morning. Here's your parking situation. Paul opens it, he reads it, he goes, wow, Josh is talking right to me. So I do. The answer is yes. I always greet people with first name whenever I can, because it's personalized. We're real people, and I want all of your Amex cards, and I know there's a better chance of me getting your American Express card if I greet you with your first name.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we talked a little bit about metrics. So let me move right into the tools category, because I know myself personally, we do our email marketing, and there are so many tools.
Who do you
there.
use?
I happen to use Infusionsoft.
Little plug.
There are so many tools out there and so many different metrics that you can use. I do want to know what tools you guys use. We spoke a little bit about metrics. Maybe just touch on that a little bit more and take it away. Julie, you want to start?
Sure. So we do everything in-house, but we do work with partners. So we have, first it's the creative, so we'll work internally on the creative. But as far as systems, we work mostly with Cheetahmail and Aprimo to help deploy. And then, of course, like our own marketing database systems.
Are most of the emails that you'll send to your audience, how different are they per user that receives them?
That's what we're trying to do more of. So I agree with what Josh said. I think personalization does make a difference, and we're not doing it enough. We are not putting in first name, at least on the B2B side. So probably the versioning that we're testing the most now is by industry vertical. So we might be getting out a message about a product or a program, and we'll vary the messaging in the copy to certain industry categories. So we might send 3 versions of the same email. So that's mostly the versioning we're doing right now.
Cool. Solange?
Yeah, I mean, I've used the tried and true Constant Contact quite a bit, as well as MailChimp. MailChimp provides a little bit more interactive, responsive mobile design. They also provide A/B testing, so that's really nice, and they integrate well with Google Analytics. I think there are a lot of different tools out there, and it's really it really depends on your target market, and as well as how scalable. You can definitely scale down with some of the smaller services out there, or even go in house.
Cool. Josh?
Tools. How many of us use MailChimp right now? Raise your hand. Okay, so about 15% of us, 20% of us. How many of us use Constant Contact? Okay. Jeff, you raise your hand for both? Is that true?
I use both. MailChimp's free up to 1,000, so I do that for like AYSO stuff.
Yeah, MailChimp's free for up to 1,000. Yep.
Basketball, as I'm a commissioner.
Cool.
But Constant Contact
He-
for
Jeff's the ultimate coach in every sport team for all of his 3 kids. It's awesome. Cool. So we like MailChimp a lot too. We manage some marketing for Amtrak California, and we run all that through MailChimp because it has great Google Analytics integration. So you click one button and it adds all this little cool stuff onto the end of every link, so you can see what link they came to your website from, so that when they check out, you can see where they started and what that funnel is. And I think that's something that's really helpful. MailChimp's also easy for mobile devices because it has a responsive email thing. And there's also one hidden trick if you're working with clients and you want to do their email marketing, or you have a boss or a VP that you need to get approval on, rather than forwarding them the MailChimp email and say, here's draft 1, here's draft 2, because MailChimp only gives you 10 drafts or something. You run out and you're like, If you send one draft to yourself in MailChimp or any one of these marketing systems, and you have that little button at the top, which I dislike, and I remove this from all of our marketing, but some of our clients require we keep it in. View this, can't see this email? View it, click here to view it in your browser, right? I hate that, and I take it out of all my things because I don't think it's personal. But we click on that, and we send that unique link to the client, and we tell the client, hey, we're going to update MailChimp. It's ready. Check it. And the client will call us and go, change this word, change this word. We update it in MailChimp. It's live, and they're on their mobile device checking it mobily through that link. That link is phenomenal. It's better than getting the email because you can refresh that website, and it's the same experience. So that's one of our little behind-the-scenes MailChimp trick, but we use Infusionsoft most of the time.
So I guess the next question I have is, who in this space can you guys look at what brand and say, hey, these guys are doing a really good job with email marketing? Somebody that all of us can sort of look up to. Josh, let's start with you. We haven't started with you yet. You've always sort of finished off the conversation.
So on this panel, I wanted American Apparel to come out because I bought some shirts from them, and they got my email address, and they blasted me every day for like 3 weeks straight, and I wanted to see how long it would go. And I was like, this is amazing. These people are freaks. And I reached out to a bunch of their marketing people, and so I wanted them because I really disliked it, and I thought I wanted to hear straight from the horse's mouth. They wouldn't answer any of my emails. I don't know why. So I unsubscribed. Yeah. Who's doing?
After 3 weeks, you actually unsubscribed.
Yeah, it was too
didn't
much.
stop.
I mean, I bought like 4 shirts, and they're really nice because they're really cool. But do I need? I am not kidding you. Every day for maybe it was 2 weeks. It's way too many emails. But I'm talking about them now too, and I do like their clothing, so maybe it's good. I don't know. And I will go back and buy more shirts someday, but I didn't need that many emails. So is there a good example of stuff? I really like a company called Wistia. Have you guys ever heard the video company? So YouTube is for the world, and Wistia is a business video hosting company. They send out, I don't know why, but I love every one of their emails. I click on their imagery because they have cool content. But Wistia,
So you like their images, huh?
I like their images, and yet I don't like images. I think they have a terrible. Maybe it's I like the company. That's a bad example. And my favorite thing in an email is to get personalized results of something cool. So something that's awesome is getting my LinkedIn who's viewed your profile thing. I love that. I think a lot of us are opening that because we want real people in our inbox going, who's been creeping on me. And I think that's something we can all learn from. It's data. We all love to hear our first name. There's nothing sweeter to our ears than your first name, so that's why we always start the email off. But what if it said, Dear Andy, here's the people that are looking at you? We would all open that, right? So I love that. And I don't think it's anything LinkedIn's doing per se. I just think they have that data and they give it to us in our inbox, which is pretty rare.
Solange?
Yeah, I would have to say that I know a lot of online discount sites, retail sites, do similar things, but I really like ideally.com. They do a lot of emailing, but the nature of the emails that they send, if you buy something from them, they send these VIP special first row sales to you. So it's like this exclusive, you get the first shot at buying, getting these discounts. And that just, I mean, the feeling of exclusivity, I think, is really important to a shopper, getting, that whole, I mean, we can see, Black Friday's coming up and people are going to be lining up outside of Walmart, that people want to get the deals on the things that they want first. So I think that is good. They also had a discounted program where if you, they sent out a campaign where if you sent their link to, I think, invited like 20 people, you would get this big discount. So I think it was like a $50 or $100 off of your next purchase. So and they had a timer on this. So as you're filling it out, it's like this sense of urgency. Like I have to get this out.
This is
right
ideally
now.
all this.
Yeah, ideally.com. So it was really, I thought that was really clever.
Cool.
Actually, the one, Josh took mine, LinkedIn. I was going to say, so I'll try and think of another one too. But
What do you like about LinkedIn?
The reason why I liked it is the personalization. I think that's just so key. And, you brought up the one example about who's viewed you, but they'll show, who in your networks updated this part or, check out this piece of content. So I just think they have a smart strategy, and it's all data-driven and making it personalized.
Who here clicks on their LinkedIn emails when they get that, like who's viewed your profile? Yeah, look at that open rate, whoever was checking open rates. Yeah, for sure. I guess, quick question, and this is my favorite one, is blunders that we can learn from. Does anybody want to volunteer to start this one off?
I haven't made as many email blunders, but I did make one several years ago. Oh, I make a lot of blunders every day, but usually they're calculated, what's going to work and nothing works, right? But we made an email blunder a long time ago that was kind of cool, and we just followed up with, it's not even worth mentioning. So you get something wrong. My point is, here's what happened. I do a lot of events and conferences to test, because I think you're on the edge of your feet. If you have a lot of details, a lot of people going to one venue, and they're all depending on you, you get really good at it. You're pressuring yourself. We got one wrong that had the wrong venue or something, and then we wrote back quickly. We said, sorry, it was an intern problem. Just kidding, it wasn't our intern, it was our founder. Got it wrong. And we put humor into it, and that blunder made more people read it. And it started off with their first name. If it really counts, don't do this very often, but you really want to juice an email, put their first name. I'll have that automatically merged into the field. Josh, I got the last email wrong, because it looks like you hand wrote that and sent. Don't do that too much, because then people go, damn it, you're spamming me. You're using my first name too much.
Use the first name in the subject line?
In the subject line of the email, a lot of your email systems will let you do that. In Infusionsoft, we do it only for the most important ones. Like if I need you to update your data or make sure you show up to an event on time or something, or retweet something that's very important, you can put that first name in there. It says, insert context first name here, and then add, and keep it all lowercase. I got the last email wrong. And they'll open that one every time. So we put some humor in there. If we make a mistake, we're humble, we apologize right up front, and we blame it on me, always. Always blame it on yourself. There's some other blunders too, but they're long. So.
Solange?
Well, I mean, I think just communicating with all of your departments and making sure that everyone's on the same page as far as dates and other such important info that goes out in these emails, because the worst thing that you can do is send out an email before something goes live, which I've done many a time. Well, not many a time, but quite a few times. And so I guess, yeah, just making sure that timing is everything, and making sure that you communicate with your teams.
I think 2 would be 1 typos. We had one of those, and my VP of marketing at the time caught it, and so that was just bad. So it's nothing you can do right then. Another one is I talked about like versioning to different industry verticals. So I think we sent a very like retail specific email to a group of travel advertisers. But the ironic thing, we were debating, do we send them something to apologize or correct it? But the open and click-through rates were actually really high on it versus the other groups. So we're like, okay, so we just kept it. But those are 2 examples.
Yeah. Actually, I think the timing piece you mentioned, Shalanda, is also important. When I have a technology that we license, and so when we've had technical problems, we've sent emails that say, hey, we know you're having issues. It should be ready by tomorrow, And oftentimes it's really impossible to predict, but you think that that's okay. So I think that usually coming up with dates like that in emails can also be really dangerous, because you sort of just want to stick on schedule. Anyways, time for QA. Does anybody have any questions for our amazing panelists? Anything with emails or subject lines? Yes?
What time of day, what day of the week?
Wow. Who wants to kick this off?
So our friends at Infusionsoft, whom are here today, they sent out a few billion emails, and they showed us the data from all of the emails across all the different industries based on click-through rates. And the worst time of the day, if I can remember correctly, was 9:00 a.m., the worst time of the day to send your email, based on open rate and click-through rate. Now remember, I only care about click-through rate, because open you can't control, and nor can you see in Gmail, because it doesn't always open, but click you can always control.
9 a.m. Eastern or Pacific?
Oh, that's a very good question. I might actually follow up. We're going to send a series of emails to all of you with helpful docs and videos and stuff, so I might include that. But it was 9 a.m. local at the target customers, because they're in the office, they're in the thick of it all, and they're too busy to actually read it, and it can get lost, according to what we saw.
And so the best?
Do you guys have any other info for that? Sorry, I pulled that out because it went to a big email conference based on that. It's one of the only ones I have off the top of my head.
No, I think we always keep trying. I know we've always steered away from Friday, but then I think I've read things lately that do say Friday's good. But we've typically stayed away from Friday, and we have generally done morning. But I don't think we have the exact answer.
Yeah, I mean, I found Thursday afternoons work, but that just could be an anomaly with the types of consumers that I've worked with.
Would you say the subject line is more important than the time in the day? Or are they both important?
I don't think I know anything. I really don't. That's the truth.
Great
I don't
panelist.
think I know anything. I think that we're all in the room. We are all chefs. We're all cooks. You never see a cook going, I'm the best, and they sit back. No, they're always shoving food in your face, and they say, try this, right? Because that means they're always testing. And if you ever meet somebody in our field that's so new, especially social, but email is still very new, and they say, this is the only thing that works, I think, whoa, run. I don't think I know anything. I think we're all in the business of testing. So Infusionsoft said don't send it at 9 a.m. because over the last decade, and there's other data in here that's probably even way better, but they said some of the best times are 10:30. So it's so close, that window of time, that you're like, well, are you serious? Are you close? So I don't actually, the subject line is really good. I like late night emails. I think we all know our customer base better than anyone. And one of my other favorite things is telling them when your next email is going to arrive. You're going to get it Wednesday at 8 p.m. It's one of my little sneaky things. Have you guys ever been on YouTube? We're going to talk about YouTube later, and Jackie's kind of the expert here. But I see a lot of YouTube celebrities saying, subscribe above or below, because we do every new videos every Wednesday. And wow, this celebrity who I like, every Wednesday. So they expect that. That's something we're trying to do.
Yeah, I think, just on that note, the regularly scheduled emails, people expect your email in their inbox. It doesn't really matter what time, as long as they have that expectation that they're going to get their weekly email. I think that people are, we're creatures of habit, so they will look for your email and they will open it automatically most of the time.
All right. We have time for one more question. Yeah, Josh? Yes, one more question.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the frequency of email blasts, like either in a campaign or a straight up corporate newsletter?
Okay. Well, I mean, as far as...
Let me repeat the question. Can you talk a little bit about the frequency of the emails that you send to people for everybody in the video? Sorry.
The frequency of emails when you're handing out a newsletter, again, like I said, just having a regular schedule. So whether it's a weekly or whether it's a monthly, as long as you have that expectation that this is your weekly email. So it's more like a subscription type. When you're doing a campaign, it's important to, I always say, remind them. So if it's during a campaign, might want to email them, once a week, just to kind of get, hit them up. But don't do it consistently over time. So make sure you have a time limit on it.
So one of my little tricks in consistency is at least once a month, because you need to take care of your list and nurture it and make sure they expect your email in your inbox so that Gmail and all these other technologies know, oh, I'm getting consistent stuff. It's cool. And then also they're used to it. They know who you are. Second, in one of emails, I like to put a little dual links, especially one that says, click here to learn more about this product. Second, click here if you want less emails from us. It's not an unsubscribe. It's a, hey, Josh, your team is sending them too much. I want to be taken out of this sequence, because a lot of you that got the invite to this were in a sequence, a very carefully timed first of the month. It waits 8 days and then sends on the Monday morning, and my team sits down and writes all the copy, builds all the cool stuff, and then plans that out carefully so that when you're in the system, you decide how frequent the invites to this, or yes, I'm interested, and it sends you one more. I say 1 month at least, no more than every 2 weeks. Any more than 2 weeks, unless they have requested it, you're in their email inbox too much, and I hear that a lot. I get emails from you all the time, so we've slowed it down. We found it every 2 weeks is good. Every 1 month is at least something, and then we only give really cool data. Usually everybody has really cool data. We tried something last year where we gave away the very tweets that our clients hired us to write that they didn't want to use. They threw away. They're like, we don't like those. So I said, why not give them away? Because I own them. So we actually wrote a blog post and said, here's free tweets, try them for the holidays. Got the most, that type of data. People are like, what? You're giving this away for free? And so that kind of stuff. So no more than every 2 weeks for us, but it's different for everybody.
Any other questions? All right, well, how about a round of applause for our panelists? Thank you very much.